moving on, Mombasa High Court. The Mombasa High Court has today dismissed former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko's bid to have IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati held in contempt of court for failing to clear him to vie for the governor's post. Judges noted that the Supreme Court found Sonko constitutionally unfit to ever hold any public office. But what next for Sonko? We are now joined by Sonko from his Nairobi office. Good evening, sir, if you can hear me. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, and you?
I'm great, thank you. So,
do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you clearly. Well,
be loud a bit. Be loud a bit, please. Be loud a bit.
Okay, let me try and be audible. Can you hear me?
Put the microphone near your mouth, please. Yeah, now you're audible. You're audible.
Am I audible now, sir? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Continue, proceed.
Okay, well, a High Court.
Go ahead.
Sorry?
Yes.
Well, to begin,
Continue.
A High Court sitting in Mombasa has today upheld the ruling by the Supreme Court that you're not constitutionally unfit to ever hold any public office. I want to hear your reactions to that.
No, I think you're very wrong. The High Court does not deal with the Supreme Court ruling in any way. What was before the High Court today, which I concur with their ruling, their verdict, and because I'm addressing my Mombasa people, allow me to mix Kiswahili and Kiingereza. Ningependa kusema hivi, sina shida na mahakama ya Mombasa.
Okay, I can hear you.
They did their work. I want to compliment them in a very big way. Their judgment was very comprehensive. We went to court via the contempt of court application against Chebukati and the IBC returning officer Mombasa, whereby immediately I was cleared. There was a directive that was issued by the returning officer revoking my clearance by IBC because of the judgment by the Supreme Court. So my problem is how the Supreme Court's judgment was conducted, or delivered. I don't have any problem with the High Court, because before that we were before the High Court, the same bench,
yes,
which was presided over by Justice Olge Sewe. Githinji was there, and Ongijo. They ruled in our favor. All our Mombasa people celebrated because the judgment was in our favor. So I want to tell our supporters, today the judgment was not in our favor. The High Court did their work. I am convinced, and I concede and I accept the judgment of this sober bench, because after the submissions, the ruling was supposed to be delivered on the 26th. But on the 26th, this bench issued a notice that the judgment is not ready. It will be delivered on 28th, which is today. The judgment was delivered. We've lost. We accept. And we've studied. I personally have naelewa sheria kidogo. Nimesoma hiyo sheria iko sawa. The bench has said there are new facts that have come up. I was allowed to vie pursuant to Article 193, Sub-Article 3 of the Constitution, because I had not exhausted my appeal before the Supreme Court. But what transpired after my clearance? Immediately after my clearance, on the 13th, the Supreme Court convened on the 14th to deal or to hear my appeal or my petition before the Supreme Court bench. What transpired? We've never seen such a case since independence. We've heard of presidential petitions, but this Sonko's case before the Supreme Court was very special. We don't know haraka ile my Chief Justice, our Chief Justice, whom we respect a lot, Her Lordship, Martha Koome. My judgment was pending before the Supreme Court for the last 4 months. But sijui haraka ilikuwa ni ya nini. Immediately I was cleared, she ordered that my impeachment case should be heard immediately. We protested because the Supreme Court defied their own Supreme Court rules. We were supposed to be alerted by the Supreme Court on when to file our final responses and rejoinders. You know very well, there was an active case before the JSC whereby I was a witness. I went there and testified against a certain judge. I don't want to mention his name. A judge was a presiding judge on the bench that was dealing with my impeachment case. This judge messed with my impeachment. I reported the matter to the DCI. I reported the matter to the JSC. I was given a chance to go and testify there. We went there with all the clips, which were provided to us by the DCI and NSIS. The judge was captured in cameras saying he is an agent, a broker of other judges in the judiciary. Not all the judges are corrupt. I'm just talking about this one judge who messed with my impeachment.
Okay.
The judge said there was no public participation in the Senate. The judge said there was no quorum in the county assembly. The judge confided us with very sensitive information that money was taken to him. Money was taken to a certain judge. He received almost 5 million on behalf of a certain judge. He remains with his commission of 1 million. 4 million went to a certain judge in some of the cases which are going on in the judiciary. Business that was being conducted in chambers. And I want to make myself clear here. I'm not accusing any other judge apart from the judge who dealt with my impeachment, a judge who confided us that none of his judgments are set aside by the Court of Appeal, because it's also always in control of the Court of Appeal. He deals with the President of the Court of Appeal, other judges in the Court of Appeal, a certain lawyer whose wife is a judge in the Court of Appeal. He normally takes money to this lawyer.
There's something
who distributes to other judges.
Sorry, sir. Excuse me, sir. There's something I want to ask you. Yes. And I want to take you back. I did not say that the High Court sitting in Mombasa upheld that ruling, but rather, let me correct that. They noted that you, they found you, the Supreme Court. Exactly. They noted that the Supreme Court found you unconstitutionally unfit to ever hold any public office. But a fortnight.
I think I have got that.
It's okay, sir. But then again, a fortnight ago, when all indications were that Mike SONKO is going to, has been given a green light to vie for the Mombasa gubernatorial seat, you held a press conference saying that you trust the judiciary, you fully support the judiciary, saying that the judiciary is still independent. Do you still hold those views?
No. The judiciary involved the Supreme Court going down to the Court of Appeal, High Court.
So you change your views?
And being a leader, I have to be truthful to Kenyans. I have to tell the Kenyans the truth and nothing but the truth. The High Court has been ruling in our favor. We've been celebrating with my supporters. But today, the High Court has ruled against us. And I've said in the case of the High Court, they have delivered a very comprehensive ruling. I concur with that ruling. The High Court has told us, you are challenging a revocation of your letter by IBC against your clearance. You are not supposed to come by way of contempt of court. You are supposed to come because there are new facts which have arisen after the Supreme Court judgment. You are supposed to challenge that letter on its own. Come by way of a petition or by way of a judicial review on a fresh matter. What has already been concluded by the High Court was in our favor. The order was served to IBC. For once, let me press Chebukati, the returning officer. They cleared us. But everything was overtaken by events, by the judgment of the Supreme Court. We were allowed to be cleared via Article 193, Sub-Article 3 of the Kenyan Constitution. That article is mama kutusimamia because the Supreme Court ruled that our petition was dismissed. But let us look at the circumstances under which we lost before the Supreme Court. The circumstances are very clear. the Chief Justice had already pronounced herself that any impeached governor or a convicted leader is not supposed to vie unless that impeachment or conviction is overturned by the court, which was wrong. The chief officer went to a public radio station, TV station, pronounced these pronouncements, which is wrong because she was defying the Kenyan Constitution.
So you think she's not independent?
Article 3 does not support the Chief Justice's sentiments.
And you want...
Sorry?
You want her to recuse herself.
You interrupted and asked something.
Yes. I'm sorry for that, but
we have all the reasons to make the Chief Justice recuse.
Because you believe she's not independent.
Let me answer your question, please. She's not independent, and she's not independent, and she's not competent in the fact that she misled 40 million Kenyans by lying to them. The sentiments she made were contrary to Article 193 of the Kenyan Constitution. Number 2, in the BBI petition, whereby she was the presiding judge, she ruled against some, or she made some comments against Ahmed Nasir, Harvey, and a certain lady, I think, is it Angawa?
Esther Angawa.
Angawa. And actually she gazetted some rules to become the Supreme Court rules that any matter before any court, any active matter, no lawyer, no Kenyan is supposed to comment on that matter because it is against the sub judice rule. But this scenario, the Chief Justice commented on a matter that was active before her own court, before the Supreme Court. And since that, I think it was Gazette Notice number 79, she said no one should comment on a matter that is in court.
She
defied her own order. We want her to sentence herself 6 months into imprisonment for defying her own directive, for defying the Supreme Court rules she gazetted. And she has been sued by Omwanza. Omwanza advocate sued her for that. That she was not supposed to make those comments. Lawyers have a right of commenting against those comments.
Now, Mheshimiwa, here's where it gets interesting and quite confusing for many people. The Attorney General, that is Kihara Kariuki, has said that the Supreme Court lacks the power to review the impeachment application by you. And, you are seeking to introduce fresh evidence in a bid to convince the court that the review the decision upholding your impeachment. The reason I'm saying this is quite confusing, this is all happening as you also have...
sentences. Just be brief in your question so that I get time to respond. This
is all happening as you also have a pending case.
I want to respond to that.
Just a minute. Hold on, sir. As you have a court at the East African Court of Justice. How does that work? Go ahead.
I beg to differ with you. I've been studying law. I think I know law better than those guys who went to Harvard and those schools of law abroad. Me, I studied law in Kamiti and Shimolatewa. I was busy studying law when I was there. After Kula Marago, nilikuwa nasoma sheria.
So go ahead.
And I think there were rules which were made during the Maraga's time. In the Outa Supreme Court case, the Supreme Court bench pronounced itself circumstances under which a review before the Supreme Court or a judgment before the Supreme Court can be reviewed. And I just want to just touch on one maybe one circumstance. A Supreme Court judgment can be reviewed if that particular judgment has been obtained through fraud or deceit. Let me take you to my case. And I want to repeat myself. The CJ had already pronounced herself in my matter. On the 20th of May. On the 21st of May, I did a rejoinder because the ESCC, Badi Twalib, DPP, my friend, you know his name, and the Chief Justice, on the same day, they all attacked me. You are not supposed to vie. And the Chief Justice made her own sentiments that an impeached governor should not be on the ballot. On the 21st, I made a rejoinder and protested strongly against the remarks, the sentiments of the Chief Justice. And I made those comments and said, it was before the KTN, by the way, I've got those clips. And I told the public, the Chief Justice is wrong, and going forward, she should not hear any of my cases. I have an active case before her court. She will not hear my case. As a Kenyan, I have a right. I under the Kenyan Constitution. I was shocked.
I want us to wrap up,
The
sir.
Supreme Court immediately was cleared.
Okay.
They gave some funny directions that my matter should be heard expeditiously. They hurriedly formed a bench, and the directions by the bench, they said the hearing should proceed on the 14th.
Okay, sir.
They delivered that direction on the 14th. I mean on the 11th. No, my friend, you cannot ask a question on top of a question. Let me respond. Kenyans are watching, Kenyans are listening.
Kindly,
give
sir,
me time to answer your question and go to another question.
In the interest of time, sir, kindly.
I'm almost through. Give me another
Okay.
30 seconds, I'll be through.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that. Give me that 30 seconds, I'll be through.
Yeah, go ahead.
The more you interrupt, you make my points evaporate.
Go ahead,
please,
sir,
just
ahead,
relax.
sir.
When you ask questions, I'm calm. So you just pick up the way I am.
It's okay, sir.
Please, don't interrupt me. Please. Now, on the 11th, they issued the directions that on 14th I'll be heard. We protested against these directions and told the Supreme Court, you are wrong. Our appeal has been there. The respondents have not responded to our appeal, so that we are given time also to file our final submissions and rejoinders based on what the respondents have filed. And I'm happy that the Supreme Court accepted that they had a mistake, that the fault was on their side. However, we apologize to you, Governor, but we must proceed with this case.
Okay.
The respondents should file their responses by midnight of 12th.
Okay.
Then
sir.
ourselves should file our final rejoinders by the 13th midday. Remember, on the 13th, we were before this same Mombasa bench, which was being led by Justice Olga Sawe. We were there the whole day for our judgment, which put us with the ballot. The whole day. All with our clerks, our lawyers who were in Mombasa. So we never filed, listen, no. We never filed the additional evidence to the Supreme Court. Where if you have additional evidence, you have to seek the leave of the court. You have to apply to the Supreme Court and tell them, as our final rejoinder, we apply the leave of the court to file new evidence. And this evidence involves a High Court judge who messed with my impeachment, involves the JSC, involves Mother Koome herself, who, after presiding over our JSC case, forwarded the findings to the president. The president suspended the judge. The judge was found to be corrupt.
Thank you, sir, for that. Thank you, sir, for that.
Now is handling the matter.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And now, very briefly, as we wrap this up, and in 10 seconds or less, if all indications are that you're not going to be on the ballot, are you going to support any other person? And if yes, who is that person going to be?
Yes, I was cleared alongside with my deputy governor, Ali Mbogo.
Yes.
Yeah, and let me say this to the public, that kama ni SONKO, akona makosa, the impeachment was for SONKO, not for Ali Mbogo. Not for the great people of Mombasa who are after a change. Yeah, who have been languishing in poverty, who have been lacking development for the last 10 years.
Thank you, sir. So you'll support Ali Mbogo?
So we are pleading with IBC, we are pleading with the government to allow Ali Mbogo to vie as governor. If they fail, we are not going to support a puppet called Sida Laziada. We are not going to support that project.
Thank you very much,
sir. We better go the other side and support Hassan Omar and UDA. Instead of supporting a puppet and a project.
Thank you very much,
People of Mombasa are suffering
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
And change don't make movie SONKO. If SONKO has been denied by the system and the deep state, let's go for another.
Thank you very much, sir. In the interest of time, I have to cut you short. Thank you so much for finding time to join us on this live
I'm
broadcast.
sorry, I'm very bitter because of what has been transpiring.
And I'm sorry for that, sir. Thank you very much, sir. That is former Nairobi Governor Mike Mbovi.